Welcome friends, today we're doing a top 5 office fragrances. This will be more of a men's list, but since Jeremy Fragrance launched his Office for Men, Fragrance One brand, obviously people have been discussing office fragrances for ever since really, and I'm kind of seeing more kind of top lists for office recommendations. So believe it or not, I actually worked in an office myself once, a long time ago. I worked in an office for about a year, doing invoices on a computer. It was quite boring before my offshore diving days. So I'm going to give my couple of choices that I would pick today if I was to go back and work in an office around people. But what I thought was a better indication was to ask my subscribers what they wear if they could only pick kind of one fragrance for the office, what they would choose. And I've picked the top 5 recommendations or choices, actual choices that my subscribers actually wear in real life to the office, and you know what comes up the most frequently. I thought that was a more kind of honest and interesting way that you'll get to see the most common picks. So the first one on the list was Prada L'Homme, and that one is okay to me, but it's very, very popular. It's clean, it's non-offensive, it's kind of based around kind of soapy kind of iris, and you know, it's not hugely complicated, but you'll smell good to most people, and like I say, non-offensive. If you like really artistic, creative stuff, it might not give you a kick, but just to smell pleasant every day to the office, I think is actually an extremely good choice. Very practical and affordable for a daily wear. So that was in the top 5 mentioned, Prada L'Homme. Next on the list that was mentioned the most frequently was Bleu de Chanel. Kind of no surprise to me. There was different talk about EDT and EDP in the Parfum version. Just generally, Bleu de Chanel as a whole, whichever one you prefer, be it the EDT or the pure Parfum version, whatever, they all have a similar kind of DNA. It's just nuanced slightly different, and people have different preferences. You know, the EDT projects a little bit louder than, you know, the EDP version, and a bit kind of fresher, I suppose. But in general, it's one of the world's best-selling perfumes. You know, like Dior Sauvage these days. It's everybody knows it. It's non-offensive, mass appealing. Most people in the world think it smells good, and it's office appropriate. I would say probably the EDP is slightly better suited, in my opinion, being slightly closer to the skin. Doesn't kind of project as much. You know, a little bit softer on the sillage, which I think is better for the office. But you know, whichever, it smells good to most people in the world, and it's on this list as the most worn in the office by you guys. Next on the list was Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver. Again, there's a couple of different versions, but whichever, it's just personal preference. They like same DNA again, but you're gonna get that kind of citrusy bright with a kind of a clean, airy kind of vetiver. Super kind of mass appealing, friendly, masculine, good scent. So I can see completely why it would be appropriate for the office or dressed up in a suit, formal kind of. It has that kind of vibe to it. I think vetiver works well for that reason. It is kind of a good note for the office, for a suit, well dressed. Yeah, perfect choice. I would say if you want kind of a niche upgrade, try Vetiver Extraordinaire by Frederic Malle. Something like that will give you more of that beautiful kind of rich vetiver, and I still think would be appropriate for the office, given, you know, small sprays. You don't want to stink too strong in an office. You want to keep it a little bit closer, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Next on the list was Boisé d'Argent by Christian Dior. I might be pronouncing it incorrectly. It means silver woods in French. And this one is an interesting choice. Some men find it a little bit feminine. It does kind of have a light, kind of cloudy aura around you. It's a little kind of soft, although it's actually quite a very long lasting fragrance that way, but yeah, kind of like a cloudy aura of, I would say, slightly powdery iris with a sweetness. There's kind of like honeyed resins and soft kind of woody notes. There's other things going on, but it's kind of a sweet kind of cloudy iris kind of fragrance. It's quite lovely. For me, I do think it's a little feminine for my taste personally, but I can see it being appropriate for the office given a smaller number of sprays. I wouldn't want it wafting around everywhere, but more elegant, dressed up, kind of more makes a statement kind of fragrance. So yeah, interesting choice for the office. Quite expensive for a daily wear every day. Again, unisex, so a man or a woman could wear that in the office. But some men, like I say, leaning on the feminine, maybe you might find that. And at the end of the list for the top 5 was Molecule 01 by Eccentric Molecules. Not really a surprise, I expected people to say that one. A lot of people in the world are completely anosmic to it and can't really smell it. But it kind of, to me, has the molecule behind it is Iso Gamma Super, which is kind of a version of Iso E Super. And it's just kind of a light, soft, woody, musky kind of molecule that's quite airy and soft, and you kind of your nose goes blind to it after a while and you don't really smell it on yourself, but other people that are new in your environment will get a waft of it around you, and it's hugely mass appealing. It's in a ton of fragrances in the world, and Molecule 01 is just that one particular molecule bottled up really for you. And you know, a lot of people get a lot of compliments from it. It projects and leaves sillage, and people really like it. It's mass appealing, and I can completely understand why it's a good choice for the office. It's completely non-offensive for the most part. I'm sure maybe 1 in a million people might have an adverse kind of reaction where they don't like the smell of it, but in general it's probably one of the safest fragrances you can bank on, and that was the most commonly mentioned for what people like to wear in the office, and I see why. For me, I would give 2 choices. One I own and one I don't, but if I did work in an office I would go out and buy it, and I'll probably own it at some point in the future. I just don't have it right now. My niche choice would be Creed's Royal Oud, but I'd only spray it lightly, like 2 sprays. I think that would be kind of a niche kind of office scent, very nice. And the other one, I would probably go with Narciso Rodriguez EDP, which I own. It's a designer fragrance. I've talked about this many times on the channel because it's really the only designer that I do own. But this one, in my opinion, would be great for the office. I might actually wear this today because I'm not wearing anything at the moment. This is just kind of a slight florally like musk. Kind of light, clean, bright, florally musk, basically. Very modern, kind of smells futuristic to me. I can imagine aliens in a spaceship wearing this. That's how it smells to me. It smells like the future. But very non-offensive, very likable in my opinion, and good for the office. The projection in the sillage is very subtle, so you're not ever going to really offend anybody with this. So that would be my kind of daily wear to an office, personally, with Royal Oud for more of special occasions. That's your top 5 and my top 2. I thought it'd be interesting just to see what your choices were. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time with another one. Bye everyone.